The Apex ships came on a Tuesday. They blocked the sun over every major city on Earth at the same time. People stopped in the streets to look up, their hands shading their eyes. Some screamed. Some prayed. Most just stood in silence, watching the end of the world as they knew it. But the end did not come with fire. It came with a message. "We welcome Earth to the Galactic Coalition," said the voice that rang from the ships. "Your struggles are over. Your wars are done. Your poverty will end. Join us and thrive." Jack Thompson stood in the middle of Times Square, his Navy uniform crisp despite the hot summer day. Around him, people cheered. Hope filled their eyes. Jack did not cheer. He had seen enough wars to know that nothing good ever came so easily. He was right. 6 months later, Jack sat at his desk in what the Apex called Disposal Site 17. 10 square miles of Earth's surface, once a forest, now packed with alien trash. A knock came at his door. "Come in," he said. Mira walked in. She was the best engineer Jack had ever met. Before the Apex, she had built rockets. Now she sorted garbage. "They're bringing in another shipment," she said. "Big one this time." Jack nodded and followed her outside. The hot sun beat down on them as they walked past piles of metal, strange devices, and broken machines. The smell was not bad. Apex trash didn't rot like human garbage. But there was a sharp tang in the air that made his nose itch. At the edge of the site, Tom was already checking the shipment with his tablet. Tom had once worked on computer systems for the military. Now he checked lists of trash. "Anything good?" Jack asked. Tom shook his head. "Same old junk. They say it's all broken. Useless. Want us to break it down for raw materials." The Apex ships dropped their loads from high above. Metal rained down, clanging and banging as it hit the ground. The three of them stood back, watching. "They think we're stupid," Anna said, joining them. She was their physicist. "They treat us like children who can't understand their toys." Jack looked at her. "Maybe that's good. People who are underestimated have a chance to surprise." The last piece fell. A curved sheet of metal bigger than a bus. It landed with a boom that shook the ground. "Get the team together," Jack said. "I want everything sorted by sunset." Night fell. The Apex guards changed shifts. They didn't care much about the humans working after hours. What could these primitives do with broken parts anyway? Jack met his team in Shed 5, the biggest building on site. Inside, they had pushed the tables together. On them lay pieces of metal and strange devices. "Look at this," Mira said. She held up a curved piece of metal. "And this." She picked up another piece. They fit together. The connection points match. "That could be a coincidence," Tom said. "Once is a coincidence," Jack replied. "Twice is a pattern." He pointed to more pieces. "Look how many of these fit together. It's like a puzzle." Anna ran her hand over a black box with lights that still blinked weakly. "This is a power system of some kind. Damaged, but not destroyed." "Why would they throw away things that still work?" Tom asked. "Maybe they don't know they work," Jack said. "Or maybe..." "Maybe what?" Mira asked. Jack looked at each of them. "Maybe they want us to think these things are worthless." Anna picked up a small device. When she turned it on, it made a soft sound, like a whisper. Lines of light appeared in the air above it, symbols none of them understood. "What is it?" Tom asked. "I don't know," Anna said. "But it's trying to tell us something." The next day, Jack walked through the site with the Apex overseer. The alien was tall, with blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. It moved with a grace that made humans look clumsy in comparison. "Your workers process the materials too slowly," the Apex said. Its voice came from a small device at its throat. "Your species must improve efficiency." "We're doing our best," Jack said. "Some of this technology is hard for us to understand." The Apex made a sound like laughter. "Of course it is. Your species has barely left your own planet. Our youngest children understand more than your greatest scientists. Jack kept his face blank. What are these parts from? He asked, pointing to the newest shipment. Obsolete ships, broken weapons, failed experiments. The apex waved a hand with too many fingers. Nothing that should concern you. Just break them down as instructed. As they walked, Jack noticed something. The apex never looked closely at the trash. It walked with its head high, as if the piles of metal and machinery were beneath its notice. Pride, Jack thought. They're too proud to look at what they throw away. That night, Jack called his team together again. This time they met in the old mine shaft they had discovered beneath Shed 5. It went deep, far away from the apex sensors that sometimes swept the site. I've been thinking, he said. The apex treat us like we're stupid. They give us their trash and expect us to just break it down. That's what we're supposed to do, Tom said. But what if we don't? Jack asked. What if we look for patterns? What if we try to understand what these pieces were before they were broken? Mira grinned. You want to build something. Jack nodded. I want to understand. And yes, maybe build something too. The apex would kill us, Tom said. Only if they find out. Anna replied. She held up the whispering device. And look what I discovered. She turned it on. The whispers came again. But this time Anna had connected it to her tablet. On the screen, rough images appeared. Is that a ship? Mira asked, leaning closer. I think so, Anna said. The device is showing us how parts fit together, like an instruction manual that survived even when the ship was destroyed. Jack looked at the image. It showed something sleek and deadly, something that could fly between stars, something that could fight. They gave us their trash, he said softly. Let's see what we can build with it. We'll need more parts, Mira said. Specific ones. And a way to test what we build without them noticing, Tom added. And time, Anna said. Lots of time. Jack looked at each of them. Once they had been the pride of their fields. Now they were trash collectors. But maybe, just maybe, that was exactly where they needed to be. We have time, he said, and they keep giving us more parts every day. Outside, above the mine shaft, the apex ships continued to drop their loads. The sound of metal hitting metal rang out like distant thunder. To the aliens, it was the sound of things being discarded. To Jack, it was beginning to sound like hope. 6 months passed. The mine shaft beneath disposal site 17 changed. What was once a dark, empty space now hummed with secret life. Jack walked through the narrow tunnel, nodding at workers as he passed. Everyone here had been chosen carefully. Each person had skills the apex thought useless. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, all working together in the darkness. He reached the main chamber. The space was huge, carved out by machines they had rebuilt from apex trash. In the center stood their project. It didn't look like much yet. A skeletal frame of metal, with glowing parts connected by webs of wire. But it was growing. How's it coming? Jack asked. Tom looked up from his workstation. Dark circles hung under his eyes. The signals are getting stronger, he said. Listen. He pressed a button. The soft sound of whispers filled the room. Unlike before, these whispers had a pattern, almost like music. What are they saying? Jack asked. Not saying. Showing. Tom pointed to his screen. When we connect certain parts, they talk to each other. The whispers are code. Instructions. It's like the parts want to be put back together. Jack moved closer. On the screen, shapes formed and disappeared. Fragments of a blueprint. Have we figured out what we're building yet? Tom shook his head. Not exactly. But Anna has a theory. Anna's lab was smaller, tucked in a side tunnel. The physicist barely looked up when Jack entered. She was bent over a piece of metal no bigger than her hand. It glowed with a faint blue light. Tom said you have a theory, Jack said. Anna nodded. Look at this. She held up the metal piece. This is part of what I think was a safety system. When Apex ships are destroyed, this activates. What does it do? It saves information. The whispers we hear, they're backups. Emergency protocols designed to preserve crucial data even when the hardware fails. Jack leaned against the wall. So the ship is trying to rebuild itself. Not exactly. It's more like. Anna thought for a moment. Imagine you tear up a book. The pages are scattered, but each page still has words on it. If someone found all the pages, they could put the book back together. The whispers are like that. Fragments of a whole. But why would the Apex throw away parts that still work? Anna smiled. That's the interesting part. I don't think these are Apex parts. Mira found Jack an hour later. The engineer's hands were stained with grease, her hair tied back in a messy ponytail. You need to come see this, she said. And bring Anna. She led them through the tunnels to a small room near the surface. An old man waited inside. His back was bent, his face weathered by years of hard work. This is Ben, Mira said. He's been working disposal sites since the Apex first arrived. The old man nodded. Miss Mira says you're building something down here. Jack tensed. We're just studying the parts. Ben laughed. No need to lie, son. I've been watching you all for months. You're not the first to notice strange things in the trash. He reached into a ragged bag and pulled out a metal container. When he opened it, Jack saw dozens of small components, each marked with symbols he didn't recognize. Found these at Site 9, Ben said. Then more at Sites 12 and 23. They're different from regular Apex tech. Look at the markings. Anna leaned closer. These symbols, they don't match Apex writing. That's right, Ben said. Because they didn't make these parts. Someone else did. That night, Jack called everyone together in the main chamber. The skeleton of their project hung above them, larger now, with more connections between its parts. Ben has shared something important with us, Jack said. We're not just finding random Apex trash. We're finding pieces of another civilization's technology. Murmurs spread through the gathered workers. According to Ben, there are similar parts in other disposal sites. Parts that don't match Apex design but work with what we're building. Who made them? Tom asked. We don't know, Mira said. The Apex never talk about other advanced species. Because there aren't supposed to be any, Anna added. In all their speeches, the Apex claim they're the most advanced beings in the galaxy. That everyone else is primitive, like us. But that's not true, Jack said. The whispers are telling us a different story. He nodded to Tom, who pressed a button. The whispers filled the chamber again, but this time they played them through a system Anna had built. The sounds became clearer, almost like voices speaking in an unknown language. On the large screen behind Jack, images appeared. A ship, sleek and deadly. Weapons systems, star maps, and faces, not human, not Apex, but something else. Beings with ridge-like features and eyes that shone with intelligence. The Apex aren't the benevolent coalition they claim to be, Jack said. They're conquerors. They've destroyed other civilizations and erased them from history. But they kept their technology, as trophies maybe, or because they couldn't fully understand it. And now they're throwing it away, Mira said. Not throwing it away, Anna corrected. Hiding it, breaking it into pieces so no one can see what it really is. Jack looked up at their project. In the dim light, he could almost see what it would become, but they didn't count on us. They thought we were too primitive to understand what we found. So what are we building? A voice asked from the back. We're not building from trash, Jack said. We're rebuilding something that was taken apart. Something powerful enough that the Apex wanted it destroyed. He paused. We're reassembling pieces of resistance. Weeks later, Jack stood alone in the main chamber. The project had grown. It was taking shape now, something long and curved, with sections that looked like they could move. It hung in the darkness like a sleeping beast. Anna's voice came from behind him. The latest connections are working. The whispers are getting stronger. Can you understand what they're saying yet? Jack asked. Not words, but feelings, yes. Anna came to stand beside him. There's anger there, and loss, but also hope. Jack nodded. Whoever built this, the Apex tried to destroy them, but they found a way to survive, through us. Do you think we can really build this? Make it work? I don't know, Jack admitted, but I know we have to try. Above them, through layers of rock and soil, Apex ships continued to patrol Earth's skies. And below, in the whispers that filled the darkness, another civilization spoke to them, reaching out across time and space to give humans the one thing the Apex never would: a way to fight back. The ship grew in the darkness. After a year of secret work, it hung in the center of the cave like a sleeping dragon. Its shape was clear now, long and sleek, with sharp edges that seemed to cut the very air around it. Not bulky and round like Apex ships, but slim and deadly, built for speed and stealth. Jack walked around it slowly. His team had expanded. Now 50 people worked in shifts, day and night. Some brought new parts from the disposal sites. Others worked on putting them together. All kept the secret. It's beautiful, Mira said, coming to stand beside him. I never thought trash could become something so perfect. Jack nodded. Have you tested the engine system? Not yet. We need more power. She pointed to the back of the ship where curved metal plates formed what looked like wings. These sections should fold in for space travel and open in atmosphere, but we can't be sure until we try it. And we can't try it down here, Jack said. Tom joined them, his tablet in hand. The whispers are getting louder, he said, almost like they're excited. Jack had noticed it too. The soft sounds that came from the ship had changed. They were faster now, more urgent, as if the ship knew it was close to being whole again. What should we call it? Mira asked. Jack looked at the sleek form hanging above them. Whisper, he said, because that's how it spoke to us, and because when it flies, I want it to be silent as a whisper. Anna called them all to her lab 2 days later. Her eyes were wide, her hands shaking with excitement. I found something, she said. Look at this. She showed them a crystal about the size of her palm. It shimmered with faint blue light. We thought it was just decoration, she explained. It was mixed in with engine parts. But look what happens when I connect it to the main system. She pressed the crystal into a slot on a small device connected to their computers. The screens flashed, then went dark. For a moment, nothing happened. Then light flooded the room, not from the computers or the crystal, but from the air itself. Blue light formed shapes, then colors, then a figure standing before them. It was not human, not quite. It stood tall, with a ridge of bone down the center of its face. Its eyes were large, with no whites, just deep blue from edge to edge. It wore what looked like armor, sleek and fitted to its thin frame. And it spoke. Ship systems activated. Captain's log restored. I am Captain Wren of the Meridian Fleet. Jack stepped forward. Who? What are you? The figure turned to him. I am a consciousness impression, stored in the ship's memory crystal. A copy of myself, made before my physical form was destroyed. The figure, Wren, looked around. You have rebuilt the Whisper. The Whisper? Mira asked. We gave it that name because of the sounds it makes. Wren nodded. Yes, the Whisper-class stealth destroyer, the last hope of the Meridian people. Who are the Meridians? Jack asked. Wren's face showed something like sadness. We were a civilization that spanned 12 star systems, until the Apex came. They gathered in the main chamber, the whole team, to hear Wren's story. The hologram stood before them, next to the ship they now knew was called the Whisper. The Apex war against us lasted 20 years, Wren said. They were stronger, with more ships and weapons. But we were cleverer. We built ships they couldn't detect. We fought from the shadows. But you lost, Tom said. Yes, they found our homeworld. They destroyed it. Ren's voice was flat, without emotion. But before the end, we made a plan. We knew they would take our technology as trophies. They always do. So we built ships that could be broken down and scattered, with parts that would call to each other, parts that contained our knowledge, our history, our revenge. You wanted someone to rebuild them, Anna said. Yes, we hoped someday someone would hear the whispers, someone the Apex thought too primitive to be a threat. Ren looked at each of them. You. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. You've been waiting for hundreds of years. Time means little to digital consciousness, Ren said. I would have waited forever for the chance to strike back at the ones who destroyed my people. Over the next weeks, Ren helped them complete the whisper. The hologram showed them how parts should fit, what systems to connect, how to power the ship without alerting Apex sensors. The Apex didn't just conquer us, Ren explained as they worked. They erased us from history. In their records, the meridians never existed. Our planets were always empty, waiting for them to find. Why do they do this? Mira asked. Why not just admit they conquered other advanced species? Because their power comes from a lie, Ren said. They tell each new world they find that they are the only advanced beings in the galaxy, that all others are primitive, like you humans. They claim to be gods, bringing knowledge to lesser beings. But they're just bullies, Tom said. Exactly. Ren's hologram nodded. Very powerful bullies who have been conquering worlds for thousands of years. Jack looked up at the whisper, nearly complete now. And this ship can fight them. This ship can do more than fight, Ren said. It can reveal the truth. Show other worlds what the Apex really are. One night, as Jack worked alone with Ren, he asked the question that had been bothering him. Why didn't the Apex detect this ship? If it's so powerful, why didn't they recognize the parts? Ren's hologram smiled. Because the whisper was never captured. It was never seen by the Apex. It was our newest design, built in secret. When they attacked our homeworld, we launched hundreds of them. Most were destroyed. But some, like this one, were programmed to self-dismantle and scatter their parts through Apex waste systems. A Trojan horse, Jack said. Yes, hidden in plain sight. Ren looked at the ship. The Apex are arrogant. They believe no one can match their technology, so they don't look closely at what they throw away. Suddenly, alarms rang through the cave. Red lights flashed. Tom's voice came over the speakers. Jack, we have a problem. Apex security is scanning the area. They've detected an energy spike. Jack looked at Ren. How close are we to finishing? Very close. The main systems are operational, but we haven't tested anything. We might have to, Jack said. He ran to the control room where Tom was watching screens showing the surface. What happened? Jack asked. Not sure, but they're bringing in scanning equipment. It's only a matter of time before they find this place. Jack made a decision. Tell everyone to prepare. We need to move the whisper. Move it where? Tom asked. It's too big to take through the tunnels. Jack looked at the screen showing Apex guards moving across the disposal site above them. Then he looked back at the ship that had slowly taken form in the darkness. We're not taking it through the tunnels, he said. We're taking it up. It's time for the whisper to fly. You want to fly the ship? Tom's eyes were wide with disbelief. We haven't tested any of the systems. We don't have a choice, Jack said. He turned to Ren's hologram. Can it fly? Even just a short distance. Ren nodded. The main systems are operational. The stealth field should work, but without proper testing. We'll test it in the air, Jack decided. He pressed the intercom button. Everyone, listen carefully. We have Apex forces scanning the area. They'll find us soon. We need to move the whisper now. The cave burst into activity. People ran to stations, securing loose equipment, backing up data. Jack turned to Mira. How fast can you get the engines online? 10 minutes, she said, already moving toward the ship. Make it 5. Jack called after her. Anna arrived, breathless. The Apex have new scanning equipment. They're using something I've never seen before. How close are they to finding us? Jack asked. Very close. Maybe an hour. Jack looked at his team, engineers, scientists, people who had once lived normal lives before the Apex came. Now they were about to fly an alien warship they'd built from garbage. Here's the plan, he said. The Apex do maintenance on their monitoring stations every 3rd day. That's today. There's a 30-minute window when their orbital sensors will be offline. Where do we go? Tom asked. North Sea, Jack replied. Old oil platform Bravo 7. Ben has contacts there. They've been preparing a hiding place. Wren's hologram flickered. The Whisper can travel underwater if necessary. Its hull is designed to withstand extreme pressure. Underwater. Jack looked surprised. That could work in our favor. The next hour was chaos. Teams worked frantically to prepare the ship while monitors showed Apex forces getting closer. They had scanning devices that sent beams deep into the ground. Inside the Whisper, Jack stood in what Wren called the command center. It wasn't large, just enough space for 5 or 6 people. Curved screens lined the walls, showing both the cave outside and strange symbols Jack couldn't read. How do we control it? He asked Wren. The ship responds to these, Wren replied. A panel opened, revealing what looked like gloves made of thin metal. Neural interfaces. They translate your thoughts into commands. Jack picked up one of the gloves. It was lighter than it looked. When he put it on, it adjusted to fit his hand perfectly. A tingling sensation ran up his arm. Feels strange, he muttered. Your species has never used neural technology, Wren said. But the ship will adapt to you, as you adapt to it. Mira's voice came over the intercom. Engines online. All systems green. Tom rushed in. Apex forces are less than half a mile away. Their scanners will reach the cave in 20 minutes. Jack looked at the others. Time to go. Get everyone on board. 47 people crowded into the Whisper. It wasn't designed for so many, but they made it work. Some sat on the floor, others stood packed together. All looked nervous and excited. Jack stood at the command center, wearing the neural gloves. Mira, Tom, and Anna were with him. Wren's hologram floated nearby. Closing exterior hatches, Mira announced. Ship is sealed. Powering main systems, Tom added. We're drawing energy from the crystal matrix. The window for the orbital sensors starts in 3 minutes, Anna said, checking her watch. We need to time this perfectly. Jack took a deep breath. Wren, how do I fly this thing? Think about rising, Wren said. The ship will respond. Jack closed his eyes. He pictured the Whisper floating up, breaking through the rock above them. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship hummed. A soft vibration ran through the floor. On the screens, Jack saw the cave walls begin to move downward. It's working. Someone shouted. The Whisper rose slowly at first, then faster. The ceiling of the cave approached. Jack. Tom pointed at the solid rock above them. How do we get through that? The ship has phase technology, Wren said calmly. It can briefly convert its mass to energy to pass through solid matter. You couldn't have mentioned that earlier, Jack muttered. The Whisper reached the top of the cave. Jack felt a strange sensation, like his body was turning to water. The screen showed the rock ceiling passing through the ship, or the ship passing through the rock. It was hard to tell. Then they were above ground, rising into the night sky. Below them, Disposal Site 17 spread out, lit by harsh floodlights. Apex guards were moving toward the center, where they had detected the energy signals. Stealth systems active, Wren announced. We are invisible to standard Apex sensors. The Whisper climbed higher, faster now. Jack felt the neural gloves warm against his skin as he directed the ship north, toward the sea. We did it, Anna said softly. We're flying. But the celebration was short-lived. Alarms suddenly blared through the ship. On the screens, a small Apex patrol craft appeared, changing course to intercept them. "They've spotted us," Tom shouted. "How is that possible?" Ren's hologram flickered with concern. "Their patrol must have visual sensors outside the standard range. The stealth system doesn't cover all wavelengths yet." "What do we do?" Mira asked. Jack thought quickly. "How fast can this ship go?" "Very fast," Ren replied. "But excessive speed will leave an energy trail they can follow." "We need a distraction," Jack decided. He turned to Tom. "Can you access their communication systems from here?" Tom nodded. "I think so. The Whisper has signal interceptors." "Good. Send a false alarm to the other side of the disposal site. Make them think they've found something there." As Tom worked, Jack guided the ship lower, skimming just above the trees. The Apex patrol was still following, but holding back, waiting for instructions. "False alarm sent," Tom announced. "They're getting confused signals from multiple locations." On the screens, they watched as the patrol craft hesitated, then turned away, heading toward another part of the disposal site. "They took the bait," Anna said, sighing with relief. But Jack wasn't celebrating yet. "We're not safe. That patrol logged our position. They'll review it later and realize something was there. Then we need to disappear completely," Mira said. Jack nodded. "Full speed to the North Sea. We dive as soon as we reach it." The Whisper streaked through the night sky, flying faster than any human craft. Below them, the landscape blurred. Cities passed in seconds, their lights like fallen stars. In less than 15 minutes, they'd reached the coast. Ahead of them, the dark waters of the North Sea stretched to the horizon. "Preparing for submersion," Ren announced. "The ship will adapt its configuration." As they watched, the wings of the Whisper folded inward, becoming smooth against the hull. New structures extended from the bottom, sleek fins that would help guide them underwater. "Here we go," Jack said. He pictured the ship diving, and it responded immediately, angling downward toward the waves. They hit the water at high speed, but felt almost nothing inside. The Whisper cut through the surface like a knife, and kept going, diving deeper into the cold, dark sea. "All systems functioning normally," Mira reported. "The hull is adapting to the pressure." On the screens, the underwater world appeared, lit by the ship's own lights. Fish scattered before them as they descended. "Set course for Bravo 7, Jack ordered, "and keep the stealth systems at maximum." As the Whisper moved silently through the deep waters, Jack looked at the people crowded in the ship, people who had been sorting trash for the Apex just hours ago. Now they were crew of an alien warship, running from the beings who thought they ruled Earth. The test had come sooner than expected, but the Whisper had passed it. Now they needed a plan for what came next. 3 months passed. Bravo 7, the abandoned oil platform in the North Sea, became the new home for the Whisper and its crew. From the surface, it looked rusted and empty. Below the waves, it was a hive of activity. Jack stood on the underwater dock they had built, watching as workers moved parts from small submarines to the platform. Ben's network had grown. Now people from disposal sites across the world brought them components, the same strange technology with the same whispered signals. "Another shipment from Site 32, Ben said, joining Jack. "Good pieces this time. Engine parts, weapon systems." "How many sites are working with us now?" Jack asked. 27, Ben replied. "And growing. The Apex still don't suspect anything. They think we're just being efficient with their trash." Inside the main chamber, Mira and Tom were working with Ren's hologram. On the table before them lay what looked like small versions of the Whisper, models about the size of a car. "How many can we build?" Jack asked, approaching them. "With the parts coming in." "Hundreds," Mira said. "The design is scalable. These smaller craft can be controlled by the main Whisper." "Like a fleet," Jack said. "Exactly," Ren confirmed. The Meridians designed the Whisper to be both a warship and a template. It can create smaller versions of itself from compatible materials. And the Apex are giving us those materials every day, Tom added. They're arming their own destruction. Jack looked at the small craft. How soon until they're ready? A week for the first squadron, Mira said. Then more every few days after that. Jack nodded. He was about to respond when alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed. Anna's voice came over the speakers. Everyone to stations. Apex fleet detected entering Earth orbit. In the control room, screens showed dozens of Apex ships moving into position around Earth. Larger than any they had seen before, these were clearly warships, not the transport vessels usually stationed near the planet. What's happening? Jack asked as he entered. Anna looked grim. They found us. Or at least, they found something. They've locked down all disposal sites worldwide. No one in or out. On the largest screen, an Apex commander appeared. Its blue skin seemed darker than usual, its eyes cold and hard. When it spoke, its voice boomed from speakers across the globe. Humans of Earth, we have detected unauthorized use of advanced technology. This is forbidden. You were welcomed into the Galactic Coalition as junior members, not equals. Your place is to serve, not to create. The commander paused, its eyes seeming to stare directly at them. We know some of you have taken parts from disposal sites. You have built something that does not belong to you. Surrender it immediately, or we will make an example of your world. The message ended. The room was silent. They don't know exactly what we've built, Tom said, or where we are. But they know something is happening, Jack replied. He turned to Ren. What will they do next? The hologram's face was grim. They will begin planetary bombardment. Not to destroy Earth completely. They value its resources, but enough to kill millions. To make the rest obey. Jack looked around at his team. Then we don't have a choice. We have to fight. The plan came together quickly. Ben's network sent word to all disposal sites. Workers who had secretly helped them now prepared for open rebellion. The small Whisper craft, though fewer than planned, were ready to launch. Jack stood in the Whisper's command center. Mira, Tom, and Anna were at their stations. Ren's hologram floated nearby, watching as they prepared for battle. The Apex have never been challenged by a species they thought inferior, Ren said. That is our advantage. That and surprise, Jack added. They don't know what we've built, or what it can do. On the screens, they could see the Apex fleet spreading out, taking positions over major cities. Their weapons were powering up, preparing for the first strikes. It's time, Jack said. He put on the neural gloves, now familiar and comfortable. Launch all craft. Begin the attack. Across the world, from hidden locations in oceans, mountains, and deserts, hundreds of small craft rose into the sky, each one controlled by the Whisper systems, guided by human operators who had trained for this moment. The Whisper itself emerged from the sea like a rising ghost. Water streamed from its sleek hull as it shot upward, its stealth systems making it nearly invisible until it was already among the Apex ships. The battle began. The Apex, caught by surprise, fired wildly at targets they could barely see. The Whisper and its small craft moved in perfect coordination, their systems linked, sharing information instantly. Inside the command center, Jack felt the ship respond to his thoughts, moving faster than any human pilot could control. The neural interface let him sense the entire battlefield, aware of every Apex ship, every weapon firing. They're confused, Tom reported, watching the Apex communications. Their ships can't coordinate their attacks. That's because we're jamming their signals, Anna said. The Whisper knows their systems better than they do. The small craft darted between the larger Apex ships, firing precisely at engines and weapon systems. They weren't trying to destroy. Not yet. Just disable, create chaos. Now for Phase 2, Jack said. He directed the Whisper toward the largest Apex ship, the command vessel where General Drav, the Apex leader on Earth, was stationed. As they approached, Ren's hologram spoke. "Remember, the goal is not just to win this battle. It's to reveal the truth." Jack nodded. "Tom, prepare the transmission." The Whisper positioned itself directly above General Drav's ship. Instead of firing weapons, it sent a signal, powerful enough to override all Apex communications. Across the Apex fleet, on every screen and communication device, images appeared, recordings stored within the Whisper's memory crystals. The history of the Meridians, the true story of the Apex conquest, scenes of other worlds, other species, all destroyed or enslaved by the so-called coalition. "This is the truth," Jack's voice announced, transmitted to every ship. "The Apex are not benefactors. They are conquerors. They have done this to countless worlds before Earth." The signal went further, reaching beyond Earth to other planets in the Apex coalition. Species who had been told they were the only ones now saw the faces of others like them, heard the stories of resistance, learned they were not alone. The Apex ships faltered. Some broke formation, turning to flee. Others continued fighting, but with less coordination, less confidence. "It's working," Anna said. "Look." On the screens, they could see other ships rising from planets across the Apex territory. Ships like the Whisper, built from hidden parts, guided by whispers in the dark. The Meridians had scattered their technology far and wide, waiting for this moment. The battle lasted hours. When it ended, the Apex fleet was in retreat, pulling back from Earth and a dozen other worlds. Not defeated completely. They were too powerful for that. But wounded, exposed. Jack stood on the deck of the platform, looking up at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter somehow. Among them, the Whisper hovered, no longer hidden, its sleek form visible for all to see. "What happens now?" Mira asked, joining him. "Now we build," Jack said. "Not just ships. Alliances. The Apex ruled through lies and isolation. We'll fight them with truth and unity." Ven approached, his old face split in a wide grin. "Words coming in from across the galaxy. Other worlds are rising up. The Whispers are becoming shouts." Jack looked back at the Whisper, gleaming in the moonlight. Once it had been trash, discarded and forgotten. Now it was a symbol of hope, of resistance, of humanity's refusal to be underestimated. "They gave us their garbage," Jack said softly. "We gave them a revolution." In the quiet night, the Whisper's engines hummed, not a whisper anymore, but the first notes of a symphony. A song of freedom that would echo across the stars. The end.